with our company, I'm going to explain a little bit about to our marketing automation webinar. So just firstly, I just want to go through a quick agenda. We're going to do some introductions, and then for those of you who are not familiar with our company, I'm going to explain a little bit about FAE Business Systems Group and what it is that we do. I'm then going to do a quick introduction into SalesFUSION and hand it over to SalesFUSION CMO Kevin Miller so he can delve deeper into marketing automation and tell you about SalesFUSION and how it integrates with CRM and specifically SugarCRM. And then we'll finally open it up to a quick question and answer session. If you have additional questions after the session, please don't hesitate to get in contact with me via email, and I'm happy to answer questions or provide you with more information. So my name's Chloe Larnick, and I work for FAE Business Systems Group in the marketing department. And then we have Kevin Miller from SalesFUSION, and he's the Chief Marketing Operator. Okay, so FAE Business Systems Group has been around and dealing in business software solutions for about 25 years. We are Sage certified developers and Sugar Gold partners. In recent years, we've come to be known as leaders in developing integrations with Sugar, and we currently have the strongest integrations with QuickBooks, Constant Contact, Sage 100 ERP, Intact, Authorize.net, and we're always continuing to develop more integrations. We're based in Woodland Hills in California and have a dedicated in-house programming, developing, and support team. So nothing is outsourced, and we service companies locally, nationally, and internationally. Over the years, we've come to complete hundreds of accounting, ERP, and CRM implementations. So an overview of our services. We do custom programming, implementation, training, support, data migrations, specialize in integrations, and deal in all manner of custom solutions in the CRM and ERP space. So what is SalesFUSION? SalesFUSION is a leading marketing automation and demand generation solution, and is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. They offer a cloud-based application that embeds marketing and demand generation directly into your CRM. It includes features such as email marketing, drip, trigger, and nurture campaigns, lead scoring, web and lead forms, social media, and analytics and tracking. So now I'm going to hand it over to Kevin, and he will explain more about the automation and introduction
and the opportunity to talk to everybody today. As Chloe mentioned, my name is Kevin Miller. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at a company called SalesFUSION. We are essentially an ISV partner of SugarCRM for marketing automation, and also partnered with FAE Business Systems Group. So what we're going to cover today is a couple of things. We want to, obviously, towards the end of this, show you a little bit about how a marketing automation system can integrate to Sugar. But I think in advance of that, we want to focus on some of the reasons why companies, a lot of companies, are thinking about integrating marketing and sales, and why marketing and sales alignment has certainly bubbled up as a hot topic amongst companies using CRM systems such as Sugar. We'll talk a little bit about what some of the symptoms of broken processes are that are plaguing many, many companies today, and then talk a little bit about the technology enablement, a little bit about rethinking our views, traditional views of a sales funnel, and then also point out some key processes that companies really need to consider if they are going to go down the path of integrating any form of marketing technology into their CRM. Along with this, doing this successfully really gets companies to a point where they can get to what's known as a real-time lead management process, and that's something that I'll definitely spend a little bit of time on both in the slides as well as when we get into showing you the product. And also just some conceptual discussion around nurture marketing and how you nurture your funnel. So we will have a little Q&A session at the end, and you feel free to pretty much ask any questions you so choose at that time. Chloe already kind of talked a little bit about SalesFUSION, so I won't belabor the point. but we are a marketing automation solution. A lot of times folks are starting to kind of struggle with what marketing automation is, and I want to clearly define that. It is not email marketing. There's plenty of email marketing solutions out there, but email marketing is but one small component of what a marketing automation system is designed to do, and we'll definitely go through that. We've been around a while. We are considered to be leaders in marketing automation integration to CRM. SalesFUSION itself has a database that's very similar to a CRM system, so we've spent a lot of our time developing very deep hooks into leading CRM systems such as Sugar. Another key thing is that the vast majority of what we put into our product comes directly through a feedback loop from our clients. So as clients are using our solution and coming up with ideas and new things that they could potentially do with marketing software and adding new channels, we are taking that direct feedback and pumping that right into our development. And as such, you end up with a solution that is very friendly to a marketer because it's doing what marketers really want it to do. So the growing importance of sales and marketing alignment. Why is it important? Why is it what we would consider to be a must-have in a Web 2.0, if we want to use that term, world? What is marketing's growing influence on the funnel? To those points, I think most people would agree that the vast majority of B2B buyers are beginning their search on the web, whether that's in search engines or social or otherwise directories. The vast majority of people who are going to buy from you are coming to your website and doing some initial tertiary evaluation of your company. And if we think back to what B2B sales was like 10 years ago, the way I like to describe this is sales had control of the early part of a sales cycle, the influencing of buyers before they're ready to buy, by presenting them with presentations and materials, etc. All that shifted to the web, and frankly, sales is much less engaged in that part of the buying cycle today. And in essence, what has happened is we've lost control of the upper third of a sales funnel, the traditional sales funnel. That early evaluation stage is out of our control, and it's in the control of the buyer. So marketing automation, what it attempts to do is it attempts to regain some control of the upper third of that funnel. Couple of other issues. Online technologies, whether it is a channel such as pay-per-click or bulk email marketing as a technology, we generate a lot more inbound traffic to our sales funnel than before. If we looked at 10, 15 years ago when our lead sources came from direct call-ins or cold calling or trade shows, that was a very manageable amount of leads coming into our system, and typically those leads would come in pretty well qualified. So sales could really kind of focus and make gut decisions on who they should spend their time on. That's no longer the case. We're flooding our CRM systems oftentimes with thousands of unqualified suspects. It's clogging up our CRM databases, making it literally a mess. In some cases, we're even pushing duplicates into our CRM. And sales doesn't really know where to start. It's that deer in the headlights syndrome. They see thousands of suspects, and they really don't know how to sift through that and where to spend their time. And the unfortunate side effect of that is that leads will leak out. Warm leads will leak out of your funnel because you're not communicating with them at the point at which they want to be communicated with. So sales has to adapt how people buy. We have to somehow take some control back of the buying process, and we have to understand that with the web, your competition is one Google or one click away. And whoever reacts better, faster to the inquiries of those on the web are going to be those who are successful. As such, because a lot of the evaluation of a solution or a product has been offloaded to the buyer, our cycles are much more compressed. By the time we do get somebody, they may be deep into a buying cycle, and we may just be engaging with them for the first time. So these are things that we have to consider. So we have to talk about stages of sales and marketing alignment. It's important to tell where you're at before you can fix it. It's like going to the doctors. You can't take the right medicine until you know what the different symptoms are or where you're at. So as a little diagnostic exercise, we could talk about different stages of sales and marketing alignment. And what I'll first say is that there's a direct correlation between the amount of value your company, and by value I mean revenue, your company can derive from the depth of integration between the two. When you're completely disconnected, you're going to be in an adversarial relationship between marketing and sales. And by adversarial, we mean they're both sides of the fence are going to be frustrated with each other. Marketing is going to be frustrated because they're spending a lot of money. They're responsible for justifying that spend, and they have no way of tying in the opportunities on the back end in sales to the leads they're generating on the front end. So that creates an adversarial relationship. It creates a blame game when the CFO is beating down marketing's door and saying, what is the justification for this $30,000 we spent on a trade show? Or what is the justification for this huge list we purchased? You need to have the answers to those questions in marketing. Conversely, sales may be frustrated because you're flooding their world, CRM, with lots and lots and lots of unqualified suspects, and it could just be confusing them or frustrating them. Disconnected is the next level, where you're disconnected at a technology level, but you may begin to start to think about how we can integrate processes. Integrated is you're moving in the right direction, okay, and maybe you are loading campaign responders into CRM with some level of data behind it that helps sales figure out who they should call. But technology is going to be hampered. This stage is the stage that everybody is most commonly in right now. This is where we're using a bulk email, a mass email tool, like a low-cost mass email tool with my CRM system. It's integrated in the sense that we can get clicks and opens inside of our CRM, but really beyond that, we don't have much more intelligence. Automated is where top-performing companies are actually exceeding the revenue of companies that are not automated, meaning they don't have sales and marketing fully automated. This is where we are looking at the whole picture of a lead. What campaigns have they clicked through? How often have they been to my website? What forms have they completed? What's the profile of this lead? Measure that, and then put the best leads in the hands of sales, and then measure how those leads are performing on the back end. Symptoms of a broken process. Sales is blaming marketing. Marketing is blaming sales. You're missing revenue targets. You've got generally low lead volume. Sales doesn't like to use their CRM. They see it as data entry. Okay, those are some serious symptoms. There may be not enough leads. The leads are poorly qualified that you're putting in. There's no information on why this lead was even given to me. There's no marketing history. Unqualified lists are sent to leads. Conditions of this could be there's no lead management process, there's no lead scoring, there's no connection between marketing tools and the CRM. You have marketitis disconnectus would be the disease that we have made up a name for. So, marketing automation has been specifically designed to plug a gap, and this is a great funnel that I've used from a prior webinar I had done with Forrester about 2 years ago, and I've always found value in the way they painted this picture. I guess that's why they pay these analysts a lot of money, because they draw great-looking pictures. But this is a picture that really does tell an important story. The important story behind this is that marketing and sales have completely different mindsets and goals. Marketing is all about reach, and fundamental concepts of marketing theory are that you have to reach the most people you possibly can with your message in order to increase your sales. And this is why when we buy a billboard, we don't put it on a backcountry road, we put it on a highway. So reach is the goal. Reach is the fundamental goal of every marketer. What does that mean to B2B marketing and CRM? It means that marketing is going to try to load as many leads into the CRM for sales to follow up with as humanly possible. Sales, on the other hand, they're focused on a much near-term, I've got to close deals to keep my job mentality. So they're going to cherry pick. They're going to look for the best leads. They're going to look for the companies they know, have a relationship with, and they're going to use that methodology. And what's going to happen is some percentage of this massive quantity of leads are warm. But because you're leaving it up to chance by allowing sales to cherry pick through a list of unqualified suspects, invariably warm leads are going to leak out. And they're going to go to your competitor's website, and your competitors' websites are going to have their act together, and then they're going to call them right back, and they're going to get the deal. Technology enablement. Why we're even having this discussion today is that sales has their technology enablement well established in CRM systems. It's been around for years now. There's certainly been some great fundamental changes in how CRM systems function in the cloud and with social CRM and better data. However, at the end of the day, Salesforce automation has been worked out. All right, that's been done. We get how it's supposed to function. All salespeople have come around to the notion that I've got to use an SFA tool to survive. Marketing automation technology is evolving so quickly, it's hard to keep up even for a company like SalesFUSION. We are constantly looking at what's going on in different channels. Every time we think we've got a social network figured out, some new social network pops up that we haven't heard of yet, and we have to go figure that out. So marketing technology is evolving much, much faster than Salesforce automation because marketing automation is much newer, and it is at that bell curve in its evolution. So when we talk about technology enablement, when we try to get our heads around this, firstly, marketing software has to be integrated to CRM. Period. End of story. You can go out and spend $1 million on a marketing automation platform. If it's not talking to your CRM at deep levels, it's a really, really expensive, overpriced tool for you. You might as well go back to just bulk email. You have to have metrics in place to track key metrics on leads and opportunities. You have to have some sense of what the analytics are that you're trying to get at. And that doesn't mean having a pretty click-through report. That means being able to say, for this campaign or that campaign, I've generated X number of leads which are now sitting in qualified stage and opportunity. You have to have some processes. There has to be some standard and automated processes in place to ensure that there's some consistent lead flow. This means lead scoring. If you haven't heard of the term lead scoring, you'll get familiar with it. And if you need to get familiar with it, because what lead scoring does is it attempts to prevent one of the fundamental flaws between marketing and sales alignment, and that is, back at the original discussion, this part. Okay, lead scoring sits in the middle of this funnel and applies automated rules that says only so many can get past the sales, and they have to meet the criteria first. That's what lead scoring is all about. It's a traffic cop. Best practices. Lead scoring is oftentimes based on best practices to help identify who's a good lead and who's a lead that needs to be continued marketed to. Marketing and sales have to agree on the process and the workflow at very high levels, meaning your VP of sales has to be the driver, or potentially your CEO has to be the driver behind this, or your CFO. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And we've all learned these lessons with Salesforce automation. When Salesforce automation was done at a departmental level, or CRM was done at a departmental level where the call center and the sales weren't connected, that failed. And point solutions failed. So CRM platforms grew out of it. Marketing is the same way. Marketing automation is a platform, and that platform has to speak to another platform. And in order to do that properly, you have to have everybody on the same page. If sales and marketing don't agree on the processes, none of the other components are going to work. So, with that said, we have to start to think about sales in a new way, the sales funnel in a new way. And marketing has to have some ownership of the funnel. And we are seeing cases where marketing has ownership of the funnel, and they also have revenue targets inside of the sales funnel. You know, there was a time when marketing was the people that put on the trade show, the people that placed the ads, the people that did this, the people that did that, way above the sales funnel. Now marketing is deep in the funnel, at least through the top third of it. Based on rules, the new sales funnel can be broken down into two things: sales qualified leads and marketing qualified leads. Marketing qualified leads are those that we're actively marketing to, that have had some interaction but aren't qualified enough that they deserve the attention of a field sales rep. It's fewer but better leads going to sales, making their way through that funnel. It's throttling down that desire of reach that marketers have. Inside sales and telesales, in many cases, are shifting away from reporting to sales, and they actually report to marketing. And sales is very much laser-focused on execution and closing deals. When you can take away a lot of the noise of the upper funnel from a good sales team and allow them to focus on the deeper parts of the funnel, the presentation, the competitive analysis, the RFPs, etc., they're going to perform much better, and they're going to be happier. It's a shared pipeline. There has to be ownership between both departments. And oftentimes marketing is now being directly bonused and incented and commissioned for the number of SQLs that they produce on a monthly or quarterly basis. That is becoming a very, very common way that we look at sales funnels. There's essentially a certain amount of mutual responsibility for the sales funnel. And it's exciting. These are really interesting changes that are going on in the fundamentals of B2B selling. It's taking advantage of e-marketing technology. Marketing information is immediately made available to sales in a way that they care about it. You can make as much marketing information available in a CRM system as you want. You can have terabytes worth of email click-through data that no salesperson on the planet will care a lick about. If you can present data in a way that helps them on their first phone call, you've won them over. And that relationship between marketing and sales, which may be a bit bruised, it will definitely heal itself. Marketing automation is integrated to CRM in the new sales funnel, much like how CRM was integrated to ERP during the growth curve of CRM. It completes the acquisition through the retention life cycle. Customer relationship management, when you think about what it is, it's marketing, sales, and service. Well, it just so happens for the last 15 years, CRM forgot about the first part of that equation. It doesn't have marketing. And the marketing that it does have in it is very, very unsuited for the needs of B2B marketers today. It's simply unsuited for it. So when we rethink our sales funnel, we try to be as process-oriented as we possibly can. Marketing ownership is through pre-qualification. It's marketing qualified leads, visibility into the CRM lead status, take action on leads, reroute to MQL, and report. It's a continuous flow. Leads are coming in through the campaigns. They're hitting the marketing automation system. The marketing automation system is making decisions about what gets through the funnel to the next level into the CRM system. When integrated properly, the number of SQL should be relatively small with high close rates because sales is going to be left to focus on one thing, and that's closing deals. A couple of quick things on marketing automation so we can start to define this. If some of the points and assertions I've made up to this point ring true and you agree with them, let's define what marketing automation actually is now. It's a multifunctional platform, and it's going to include a couple of key technologies. It's going to have email, but different types of email. It's going to have bulk, drip, and trigger-based campaigns. It needs to have the ability to do lead capture in the form of forms, landing pages, surveys. It has to have the ability to do lead scoring and some management of leads. So we need to be able to assign values to the interactions that people are having. It needs to have website visitor tracking. We need to know who's coming to our website and why, because the website is the center of every B2B marketer's universe. Don't think for a minute that social media is overtaking in importance your website. It's not, and it never will. Everything leads back to your website. If we don't know who's on our website, we might as well not have one. Drip and nurture-based programs, program management, lead management, the ability to decide not only is a lead a good lead, but who should get this lead. Managing our web presence, not just managing who's on our website, but managing the presence of the website itself, meaning measure how our website's performing. And then being able to manage online programs, both inbound and outbound. That, at the end of the day, are the enabling technologies that exist within inside of a marketing automation system. So when you match this technology up with sales, you've got demand generation. That's the programs we create, the inbound and the outbound, and campaigns. Lead capture is the destination for demand generation. It's the landing pages, the website, and the social sites. Lead scoring is then looking at the behavior and the demographics of the people that we've captured. Routing is making decision on, based on what we know so far, who gets this, based on geo or role. Lead tracking is, we've spent the money on the first part, demand gen. We've captured them. We've scored them. We've sent them to sales. Now what? Well, now we need to be able to say, did these leads actually convert to opportunities, and did they ultimately close for business? Processes to consider: data integration, lead scoring, lead routing, lead nurturing. 4 very important things necessary for marketing and sales alignment to occur, driven by marketing and collaboration with sales, the technology integration itself between marketing automation and CRM. By data integration, I mean what data can we move back and forth between the two systems that's relevant and needed to do some of the other things like routing, scoring, and nurturing. What information needs to be pushed through to CRM from marketing automation? So this is an Aberdeen report. Aberdeen does their little reports on a variety of different topics, and what they usually do is benchmark reports on what top performers do. In this report, they talked about Top performing companies, those companies that had higher revenue than their peers, what were they doing in terms of integrating marketing to CRM? They were integrating web visits into CRM, email click-throughs, campaign history, content downloads, and on and on and on and on and on. In other words, you're trying to get the whole picture of what a lead has done up to that point before sales engages with them. And put that information in there in a way that it makes sense to sales, and we'll show an exact example of that. Lead scoring in particular is big because what it's doing is it's solving a lot of those initial integration problems that marketing systems have with CRM systems. Lead scoring is basically designed to ensure a smooth transition of leads from marketing to sales. The key thing about lead scoring, I can't state this enough, is that it has to be mutually agreed upon by both parties. And if you can get sales to sign a document that says we agree that these components make up a hot lead and we agree that if we get a hot lead we're going to call them right away, then that's what you need to do. Lead routing is, once we've scored a lead and we say a lead is good and we want to put it in CRM, lead routing is another level of that. Lead routing basically sends an alert to your sales rep in email on their BlackBerry or their iPhone, and it says you have a hot lead. Click here to look at it inside of your CRM. It's really a way to get sales excited about the lead gen process again by delivering pre-qualified leads to them in their inbox. And again, if they agree with the rules you put in place, they're going to be really excited every single time one of these leads pops across their desk. It's also real time in the sense that it's meant to compress the time it takes a salesperson to get back to a lead who's interested in you. And that's a really key thing in that whole philosophy of your competition is only one click away. The quicker we can get back to prospects with good information, the better off we're going to be in the long run. Nurture marketing. Nurture marketing is oftentimes the end result of all of this data that we've gathered, because what it allows us to do is do profile-based marketing with both CRM and marketing data, and it helps plug up that leaky pipeline, and it relieves sales volume follow-up. It keeps them focused. What I mean by that, we'll talk about this when we jump into the product, but let's say you're sending a bunch of leads over to sales. Sales is calling them, and maybe 3 of the 10 leads you've sent them just aren't responding to them after 5 phone calls. Well, you can have a rule that says after 5 phone calls, if you don't get them live, change the lead status to nurture. And then what happens is the marketing automation system is smart enough to be able to see that and say, oh, here's a lead from the CRM that got remarketed. And it'll drop them into some 5, 10, 20, 30-step email communication over time. Not everybody's ready to buy when you think they're ready to buy. So if we can at least keep these people warm through regular communications, when they do come around again, and we didn't rely on that tickler file in a sales rep and hope our sales rep's diligent and has done their follow-up, we can oftentimes completely eliminate a leaky pipeline. There are different types of lead nurturing campaigns. Gleanster is a good analyst firm that we've done some work with. They follow this space closely, and they talk about 7. There's a qualification nurture campaign, an awareness, and an accelerator. There's an acquisition, a call to action, a re-engagement, and a post-purchase. All these different campaigns have some certain characteristics to them, but what they all are doing is they're looking at data inside of the CRM and helping you make a decision about when somebody should go into one of these campaigns and why. So we don't need to go through and read all the bullet points on it, but this is a nice thing to kind of read through and think about if you're thinking about going through any of those nurture marketing processes. There's a financial value of engaging in this type of marketing, nurture-based marketing, which again is enabled by marketing and CRM integration. Without lead nurturing, there's a certain amount of potential buyers that are coming into your system. 30% are not going to be an opportunity at all. 50% are not ready to buy. 8 to 10% eventually buy. Sales has to stay on top of potential opportunities and manage short-term targets. Marketing has to be responsible for this 50 to 60% in here. They're interested, They just aren't ready to buy today. If we ignore them like we have in the past, they're just going to eventually leak out the bottom, as Forrester has done their research on. How marketing and sales alignment can have a direct impact on revenue. It looked at some metrics, and these may be completely irrelevant, but this was a survey that was done and talked about how to capitalize on lead nurturing. And it basically gave some hard statistics on what happens with about 1,000 leads at a certain price range, an average deal size of $50,000. 250, 100 sales accepted, 25 won. Eventually 8% of the 225 will close. It's an 18 times revenue factor of 900,000. That's without lead nurturing. With lead nurturing, 250 are accepted, 225 are placed into some nurture program. 20% of those leads are nurtured to closure. An additional, whatever the delta between the 18 and the 45 is, but there's an additional revenue stream in there. The difference between the top and the bottom of this is essentially this. Sales are going to accept a certain percent of them are going to be ready to go. The rest fall by the wayside. In this scenario, all of them are going to be placed in a nurture campaign that are not, immediately accepted by sales per se, that aren't immediately qualified and nurtured along. And some percentage of those always is going to close, of that nurtured group, because they were interested, they just weren't ready to buy today. So with that, let me take a quick pause, and I'm going to bring up an instance of SalesFUSION and Sugar here, and we'll go through a couple of these scenarios. Okay, so to give everybody a sense at a visual level what marketing automation is all about, so SalesFUSION is a platform, and within this platform you've got a number of different functional components to it. You've got marketing, which has email marketing, different kinds, drip, trigger, nurture. You've got landing pages, which allow you to create everything from a form to a Facebook landing page, to generate QR codes, to do social media publishing. It's usually the destination. What happens in a marketing automation system is that the emails you generate, and we're not going to go through all the minutiae on this, but the emails that you generate, the landing pages, forms, publishing pages, social pages, surveys, redirects, tracking URLs, all has JavaScript on it. What that JavaScript does is place first-party cookie on the machine of the person that either clicks the email or fills out the form. What that does is that allows us to track who's on our website, why they're there, and what did they do when they got there. What this looks like is Web Tracker. So here we've got somebody from a couple of examples. You have known visitors, such as Samantha, who works for our company, who's been cookied in the past. We know who Samantha is. We've cookied her. We know this IP is related to this email address. This allows us to say every time Samantha comes to the website, we know what she does when she comes to the site. It also allows you to find companies who are on your site and understand how companies are getting to your site and what they're doing. This is a reverse IP append. We know who this company is because they own that IP. Anonymous visitor data is going to show us completely anonymous visitors, and oftentimes, I'm going to go through here, give us some kind of search criteria. That search criteria can be a number of things. We don't have too much organic search. Somebody searches on this and winds up on our website. We may not know who they are yet, but we know they got there. So you've got email, landing pages, cookie, so that we can see who's on the site. Then you've got this whole notion of lead management. Lead Analyzer in SalesFUSION. What it does is it basically allows you to go out, create a contact scoring profile. And let me go in here. Contact scoring profile. Let me open this up. Is going to measure 5 categories of data: web activity, email campaigns, landing pages, events, and data. Web activity could be something as simple as, I want to go in and evaluate, and we can actually go in here and build rules. I want to evaluate when somebody has been on my site within the last 30 days, I want to give a point value of a certain number of points. If somebody is on my site and they look at a specific target page, and it could be a path like salesfusion.com/pricing, and then you can assign a different value to that, 50 points. So what you're able to do is go through and say, this value is worth this value is worth that. The same thing holds true for emails. For emails, I may say, if you click on an email and you go up and look at email campaigns that you have on the system, if you clicked on this, you get a point. If you opened it, you get 5. If you clicked, you get 15. You are basically assigning values to activities. Then what happens is we can do lead routing and say, well, if you come in and you score we'll call these our hot leads. If you score at 50 points to 100 points, we're going to call you a hot lead, and then what we're going to do is add an action and push you to CRM. Add the lead to CRM, add a task, add an opportunity, etc., etc. So that's the process by which we create rules in the system to say when does the lead go and when does the lead stay. And most often the way this works, and if I'm not going to go into my production system because that's got proprietary data, customer data in it, I can't do that, but at least not in a webinar format. Generally what you'll see is red light, green light, hot, warm, cold, bronze, silver, gold. People come in at the low levels and we put them into campaigns. When they hit the high levels, we give them the sales. And then ultimately what people should see when they go into sales, so let's say, for example, Michael North here was a hot lead. So I'm in Sugar, I'm in a lead, Michael's lead is here. We'll take all that data, the web activity history, say, okay, I know Michael's been on my site, or I know Michael's attended an event, or I know Michael's had certain web activity. All that's going to be dropped into these fields that we create and tables that we create inside of Sugar. So here's, these are basically campaigns that he clicked through. History would be, in this example, we've detected Michael had web activity. If I click on the web activity detected, I can go in and look at what Michael did on the site that day, what pages he looked at, things along those lines. Now, all this data is ultimately populated into Sugar in database fields. So you can create groups in Sugar, you can create segments, you can create lists in Sugar of all the data that marketing collects. And again, that's going to be things like campaigns, email, landing pages, web activity, event activity, etc. This can all be boiled down into a view that's a little bit more palatable for a salesperson. So what we do in SalesFUSION is definitely kind of unique, is we pop up a little report like this, and this report is essentially designed to give you a complete profile and disposition of this lead. Michael's web activity over some time period, 90 days, and it's a rolling 90-day view up here. Each week, how often does he come to my site? And the week of February 4th, he was on and he looked at 9 pages. I click on the number 9, and what it shows me is all the pages that Michael looked at and for how long. Email campaigns. What email campaigns have we sent, and has he opened, clicked, unsubscribed, forwarded to a friend, etc.? You can also drop him in a campaign right from here. I can compose emails right from here using templates that we've made available to sales. We can see what distribution lists he's associated with and add him to new lists. Let's say you have a monthly newsletter list. You can see what landing pages he's completed, and you can view the results of how he's answered questions in a landing page. Right through things like life cycle, scoring summaries, all designed to give you the sense of what has happened with this lead up until this point in time. Everything down to Michael was on my website on February 14th, and he looked at our recorded videos page. And oh, by the way, if you're a salesperson, you're not familiar with the content on that page, click the pop-up, and we'll show you the content of that web page. Again, it's meant to give you the complete history of what that lead did. So giving that to salespeople on a silver platter via an email alert, it gets them excited about the whole process again. Giving them information other than just a running stream of click-throughs gives them some context that they can use when they call for the first time. And there's other elements and other components inside of the Sugar integration, such as the ability to go in and create campaigns in the system and basically, go and build campaigns inside of Sugar and, use SalesFUSION. Let me just close that out. As the mechanism by which we do email campaigns right to lists in Sugar. This opens up the email designer. It has access to our template library. We can put templates in. So there's all manner of things that we can do with sending email communications out of Sugar. But really, the key thing I wanted to touch on today, and then I'll pause and then we'll open it up for questions, Chloe, is
Sure.
Giving salespeople good information about leads. Not inundating them with unqualified suspects, giving them information that they can use on a phone call. If I'm calling Michael back, okay, if I go in here and I look up Michael's record and I just got, an alert saying Michael's on the site and we need to call him back, you want to make it so that one click, here's that orange button that I know gives me all that information. I click on it, and we open it up, and I can get a real picture of what I should talk to this prospect about when I call them. So, Chloe, if you like, we can open it up to questions, or I'll just send it back to you.
All right, great. Look, let's open it up for questions. What I'll do is if anyone wants to ask a question, just type your name down in the chat box, and I will unmute you. I've got everyone muted at the moment. Is there anyone that wants to ask any questions? Okay, I'm not sure if it's working. I haven't received anything in the chat section, so I'm not sure if it's working or if nobody has any questions. I guess we can just leave it at that, and if anyone has an email me. Yep, sure. Thanks, Justin. He just typed in that he doesn't have a question, but he was just seeing if it was working, and it is. So no questions then, Kevin. I think we can close it up there, and if anyone wants to ask anything else, they can email me. I will be